Tony, are you still with me? I turned my phone's volume all the way up, disconnecting from the Mercedes Bluetooth. No signal out here in the middle of nowhere, literally nowhere. Or more accurately, Egypt, though not the one with pyramids and deserts. The Appalachian village in eastern Kentucky with a population of just 250. Tony, can you repeat the address for me? My signal keeps cutting out. A patchy voice finally crackles through. 6.66 CHAYNE Cell Lane. Tony manages to say. I can't help but laugh. You're joking, right? 666 Chainsaw Lane. No. His words drip out like molasses through the static. It's spelled, you know. Sort of French. Sure, very classy. And who am I meeting again? The line fuzzes for a second before Tony retorts. Did you read your emails ever? Why would I do that? I'm just the good-looking face for your postcards, I shoot back. John Doe. Tony grumbles, the mysterious John Doe of 666 Chainsaw Lane. This is going to be interesting, I reply, smirking. Prick. Tony throws in one final jab for good measure. Oh, Tony, I'll miss your sweet nothings. Ending the call, I pop the address into the GPS and start driving deeper into the Appalachian wilderness. It's a short trip, 25 minutes tops, but every passing mile thrusts me further into isolation. At some point, street lamps disappear entirely. The late afternoon sun barely pierces through the thick canopy of trees overhead, casting shadows that stretch long across my path. Outside my car windows, the darkness between trees looks almost infinite, like staring into a void. This place really knows how to welcome visitors, the full-on nature immersion. Finally, a rusted mailbox appears, sagging under the weight of tightly rolled newspapers stacked haphazardly, with *666** scratched onto its weathered post. Guess I've arrived. The dirt driveway looks like it hasn't seen tires in ages, overgrown and uneven. Driving cautiously along its winding path brings me to what must be John Doe's house, a modest ranch-style structure swaddled by looming trees on all sides. Cozy, if you ignore the glaring signs of neglect. The timber siding is rotted in spots, with windows boarded up by awkwardly nailed planks. Grass towers above knee height, reaching the middle of smashed-up window panes. This guy clearly does not believe in lawn maintenance. I park and step out carefully, scanning the ground as I make my trek toward the front door. Holes or stray piles, some unfortunate creature's feces are low-level concerns here. This place screams feral animal territory. As I walk closer, something briefly glints in the overgrown grass metal. Just as I squint to focus, realization hits. It's a bear trap. Jesus Christ, heart pounding. I sidestep it just in time. Note to self, this guy is definitely serious about home security. More cautious now, I thread through potentially treacherous terrain until I reach the front porch. Knocking firmly on the door, I wait a moment before hearing deliberate, heavy footsteps shuffle inside. Each step grows louder until they stop just shy of the entrance. The door creaks open agonizingly, slow, a sound impossible to miss, its hinges clearly decades past their prime. The excruciating squeal builds suspense as the man behind it chooses to reveal himself at a pace rivaling molasses dripping on a cold day. Finally, there he is, John Doe. His towering height commands attention. His head is mere inches below the ceiling. He's wearing an oversized canvas apron peppered with stains and spills of various textures that I'd rather not identify. Long nails curl from his fingers, which at first glance appear layered with dried dirt or maybe something worse. His shaved head gleams unsettlingly under a flickering bulb inside. To piece de resistance, his face or lack thereof. It's completely obscured by a grungy hockey mask caked in grime. Only his light gray eyes are visible beneath its filth, piercing into mine like daggers ready to slice their way into every corner of my thoughts. Well, not exactly dressed for success, but hey, who enjoys cold calls at their doorstep anyway? Time to get down to business. First rule for clients answering doors: deliver your pitch fast before they slam it shut. Mr. Doe, I start confidently. I'm Colin Smith with Fib Investments, a top-tier firm specializing in identifying key tourism opportunities tailored specifically for emerging communities like Egypt. With breathtaking mountain views and unparalleled rustic charm, this area is perfect for travelers seeking a. John stands expressionless, his bulky frame blocking most of the faint light creeping in through the boarded-up windows. His presence is unnervingly silent, a statue of a man who seems to have mastered the art of restraint. I flash my best winning smile again. It's all part of the act confidence sells, even when you're negotiating with an immovable force like this guy. So, John, what do you think? You sell to us today, and within no time, you're sipping cocktails oceanside. Sounds better than sticking around here, right? He tilts his head slightly, a gesture that feels as close to a reaction as I'm going to get. It's like talking to a brick wall wearing an apron, but I press on. The plan here is simple: keep rattling off optimism until something cracks. As the tension lingers, I glance around at the empty shell of what might have been a home decades ago. The space is barren and neglected, but opportunity glistens in every cracked window pane and warped floorboard. At least that's how I choose to market it. John finally starts moving again, padding silently across the room with a deliberate slowness that borders on unsettling. I take this as a cue to follow. We make our way down a cluttered hallway and into what I assume is or used to be a kitchen. The smell here is sour and sharp, but I keep my composure. Nothing kills a deal faster than visible disgust. Nice setup you've got here, I say, gesturing vaguely around the room, where pots and pans rest haphazardly by a stove that should probably be condemned. My eyes dart to the utility sink crammed with random objects: shoes, clothes, purses. You know, this is giving me real creative energy. Very cutting-edge lifestyle. No response. Just John, looming in the doorway like a shadow, staring with those unblinking eyes of his. All right, keep it moving. I make my way toward what appears to be a bedroom, or at least it used to be one. The space is cold and void of any comforting signs of life. The only decoration lies chained to the walls, handcuffs that seem less artistic and more functional. On the floor are dried brownish stains that my brain undeniably categorizes as blood. This would send most people heading for the exit. Me, I see an angle. Original hardwood floors, I say as if I'm appraising fine art. That's classic craftsmanship right there, and pricier than you'd think these days. John watches me without a word, his expression indecipherable. The man is practically the embodiment of poker-faced intimidation, but I've worked with worse. Besides, there's no customer I can't sell to, not yet anyway. We continue down the hall to a door that might as well have been built to keep out an apocalypse. 5 separate locks secure it in place, and John takes an eternity unlocking each one. The keys clang against his iron key ring as he works methodically. Finally, with an agonizing creak, the door opens, but nothing could have prepared me for what spills out. The stench hits instantly, sour and rancid, curling into my nostrils and threatening to conjure breakfast back out of my stomach. It's coming from the unlit space below, a basement, judging by the creaky wooden stairs descending into blackness. No worries, I say through gritted teeth, forcing another bright grin as John steps through and descends ahead of me. Who doesn't have some storage space that smells a little lived in? I follow him carefully down the steps, one hand outstretched to feel for support as the darkness presses against my eyes. It isn't until John tugs on a chain dangling from above that light finally flickers into existence, a single bulb swinging weakly in the damp air. The cold concrete room might have been intended to store dusty boxes or maybe a washing machine long forgotten by time. Instead, in one corner lays a pile of human bodies crumpled like discarded rags. I stare at them for a moment longer than I probably should. Yep, dead. The slight buzz from earlier vanishes entirely from my chest as rational thought tries desperately to take control of my brain. All right, I say coolly after a pause long enough to teeter between brave and insane. So ... Unfinished basement. I glance once more at the lifeless heap before adding in an exaggeratedly enthusiastic tone. And hey, pest problems are pretty normal in these older properties. John's steely gaze bores into mine again, as though testing me for cracks in my facade. None show I'm good under pressure, and there's money on the line. I ascend back upstairs with John close behind, feeling the weight of his presence behind me, like an iron curtain drawn to close for comfort. Once we're back in what passes for the after the tour, I smile and extend my hand. Once we're done here, I'm more than happy to add another zero to your check, Mr. Doe. His intense, unwavering stare makes no move to break. Undeterred, I press on. Fib Investments is prepared to purchase this property for $475,000. We can have the funds wired to your account within 48 hours, if you're willing to electronically sign a few documents. John blinks once, finally acknowledging me. Fantastic. Let me grab my iPad from the car. You're about to be a wealthy man, my friend. Congratulations. After handling the paperwork, peppered with tedious legal formalities, John eventually allows me to digitally replicate his signature. With everything squared away, I offer my farewell and head toward my car. As I drive off, the sky warms with the soft hues of the setting sun. Once I'm comfortably out of range of those endless rural expanses, I dial Tony. The call connects after a couple of rings. Colin, you're alive, and you have signal. Good combo. Tony quits. How'd it go? Like clockwork. The guy acted like he'd never even seen an iPad in his life. Seriously. Boomers. But listen, I need to tell you something weird that happened today. It's been bugging me. What's on your mind? Tony asks, his voice sharper now. While walking through John Doe's house, I saw something. Something unexpected. For crying out loud. Just spit it out. Tony snaps impatiently. I saw my future, man, I confess dramatically. Minimalism. That place was so bare bones and clean it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm getting back home and decluttering my entire apartment top to bottom. Consider this my epiphany. Wow, so proud of you, he responds dryly, dripping sarcasm. Anyway, congrats on another sale. Man, you just made us another $1 million. What can I say? I reply with a laugh, I'm just a natural when it comes to dealing with people.